Hello, I'm Magick Lesson, and this is Magick Lesson number 52, How to Know Your Magic Works. So, over the weekend, this little podcast passed 100 subscribers, or 115, I think, which to some may seem like not a big deal, but when you know the rarity of the mind and beings drawn to magic, that's magic with a K, right? Magick, let alone someone discussing hermetic Enochian ritual magic to be applied in daily life as something to listen to, and just how perfect, singular, and unique each one of those over 100 individuals is, well, then it's a pretty big deal. And knowing that this little channel has already reached those who are meant to hear it, that's breathtaking. I make these little uploads, but it's all of you who reached out to find and hear them, who send me messages through this and other Lux Shop platforms like Facebook, Instagram, full of wonderful questions, stories of experiences, emails of thanks and appreciation, each message and awareness for me that this little YouTube channel was and is the endeavor I'm meant to be undertaking, just as those who have ears to hear were meant to hear it. Because it is each of you subscribers who, by listening, have chosen to tell the universe that I have created something worthy and worthwhile to share with others. And so it's you who have done much of the energetic work to make this little podcast happen and to make it what it already is. That we find each other along the path or allow each other new perspectives and continually inspire each other as we move, right? Ever spiraling forward, but spiraling each in our own way. That is the point. This is how we pass the light back and forth, strengthen it, and carry on, come what may. So thank you with such respect and humility and love for all of you and for the path we create together. With such gratitude, such appreciation, fellow truth seekers. Thank you. Thank you for being you, which is a gift beyond measure. And thank you for placing some of your powerful presence and intention here in this video with me. As for shop updates, for the many people wondering when and how they can get more of the things like the Viking incense that has been sold out for a week or more now, and wondering what in the holy astral is going on with the shop and with everything inside of it. Last week, I had invasive emergency surgery. Thus, the first ever and soon to be rectified delay in occult product creation for the shop. It hasn't happened before. It's happened now. Some items have been sold out for a week. As you can hear, I'm quite well now. No worries there. I'm nearly fully recovered already. This is how we magi roll, after all. Life-threatening surgery can't slow us down, right? We know when it's our time and we know when it isn't. And even when it does slow us down, we understand that it's because it was meant to, for some other reason. Like when you get a speeding ticket so that you don't get into the accident you would have gotten into if the cop didn't pull you over and fine you a couple $100s, right? We can work to try to understand these things even when we don't. And we can work to know that it's meant for some other reason that we can learn from if we're wise enough. Anyway, I was laid up for a day or two, only 2 full days, really, thanks to the amazing energetic and ritual workings of my brethren. And in no small part, the beautiful positive thoughts of listeners just like you. And all occult workers who advance and persist, privately, sometimes even, in workings like the dharmic raising and projection of light, which we all tap into or lean on at some point or another when necessary. And so, despite life-threatening surgery, here I sit with clarity of mind and joyfully getting to talk to all of you instead of the 5 to 8 week recovery period that the wonderful medical professionals told me to assume I would need. Never a good idea to tell an occultist what to assume. Right? We're not good at listening to that sort of thing. I mean, I'm not running track and field jumping over hurdles over here yet, but give me a couple more days. Lux energy is the way. Luke's energy is the way. All the way. Regardless, this is why the little Lux Occult supply shop has been sold out of some items for a while. I wasn't here for a day, and then I was resting for 2 more. So I wasn't here to make the weekly batches of fresh incense that are made to order or to sanctify them in person, which I always do. I don't sell anything without doing the actual occult ceremonies around those products. Now that I'm back on my feet and right back to the amazing work it's a privilege to do, I will be making more and getting them into the shop for everyone to restock their altar shelves with, to invoke Thor. I understand he missed his weekly invocation from some of you. Quick as Mercury, I'll get it back into the store. And again, to everyone who happened to know that I was in surgery and who focused well wishes, healing energetic intention towards me, prayer, all the kind messages, and get well soons too. Thank you, right? Writing that message on a card, just writing that ink, that is magic. That is spell casting in language and form to create a dynamic pattern of will and intention for another person. Right? That's what a get well soon card really is. So thank you for all of you who, due to your craft, and also to all of you due to your craft passively in your own ways, who sent light and love towards me and others that might have been feeling ill or in harm's way last week, maybe without even outright knowing that I was under physical duress. Thank you. Your light is working. To those who know me in person and don't, keep up the good work. And thank you. Many blessings to you and all of yours. And finally, today's lesson. Lesson number 52, how to know your magic works or is working. Because it's a question I still get a lot from neophytes, just beginning ritual or ceremonial practice specifically. They'll ask, what are the signs that I am raising energy correctly, or that anything is happening, that I am casting my circle or spatial sigillarium signs right or strongly, etc. Well, generally, your magic is working if you are walking through your day without emotional baggage, accomplishing your goals, and actually seeing and also recognizing when your willed occult workings are becoming manifest or appearing in your reality. Like if you do chaos magic sigil work, say you do a chaos sigil to, get a new computer. You need a new computer so that you can do your own work better. You can do research for the people you work for better, whatever. Do something better, thus being able to reach more people, or thus having greater financial stability. Maybe it helps you in your job or at home in some way to earn more money, or it provides something with the help of this necessary tool, right? And then that gives you more time to devote to, say, occult studies or self-improvement. So that's why you're asking for a new computer. And then a classmate or neighbor mentions they'll give you or sell you their old computer cheap because they're getting something new and they're getting rid of their old one anyway, and it's in the way. They would have had to drive it to Goodwill or post it on eBay, which would have, taken time for them to do. So they're happy to sell it to you really inexpensively. So you'd actually be doing them a favor, taking it off their hands in some way. Stuff like that. The universe responding to your willed casting directly, and then also being able to spot it. You need to be able to spot it when it happens, because it doesn't always happen the way you think it will. It could mean talking to a complete stranger for the first time. Say something you never would have done, but you've been working with Magick, your confidence is growing, someone tries to strike up a conversation in a grocery store with you. You just walked in there after doing this chaos sigil for a new computer. And for the first time, you felt that pull of, oh, what's this? This is something. Where is this path leading? And decided to talk to them, to give them a few moments of your time, which you usually wouldn't have. And then a few follow-up texts and calls later, you're both hanging out at their house, and they mention they're getting rid of a brand new laptop someone gave them because they don't need it. They already have 3. See, sometimes it's hard to spot where the road is that the universe is offering, especially if you're sitting every day waiting for a new gift-wrapped computer to miraculously arrive while staring at your front door, while totally ignoring the person tapping on the side window who's holding it for you, or something even better in their hands to share, and you're refusing to look over at them. But generally, when you're in the flow, you know it. You can sense it, you can feel it, and you can watch as your intentions present themselves to you, and so then know your magic is working in that way. In ritual, say like the lesser banishing of the pentagram, you can actually see and feel the blue flame. And you should be trying to if you aren't seeing it and feeling it yet. And yes, you can. There is an active mental engagement that is required. There's an imaginative component soaked in the emotions we use, where the visualization becomes real. And yes, you begin that process by imagining that your tracings are there, by trying to focus and will your emotions in specific directions. And then you strengthen and strengthen and strengthen those idea forms, if that's what you want to call them. And it will give in enough time, enough focus, it will become a vivid reality right before your eyes. So if you can see your circle and stars rending the air about you with pure crackling blue flame, if you can see your trace signs and symbols in their respective casting colors rise up and spread to dance and surround your authority spatial presence, if you can see and feel the unadulterated glow of your light column during middle pillar exercises, or see the Luke's energy you pull down into and through yourself and through all corporal directional reality unto the eternal 4 corners during the Kabbalic cross, that's a good way to know your magic is working. If during any of your invocated God names, you feel those vibrations shaking the density of what is and is not, you'll darn well know that pretty instantaneously your magic is working. It shocks most neos the first time they do an actual ritual involving the God names, that they can feel physical vibrations even when they don't know how to control them, focus them, create them, that it happens kind of no matter what, physically in their real bodies as a sensation. Most people are usually stunned and say something along the lines of, oh my gosh, right? Like, it's real. It's real. How do people not know this is real? It's as real as feeling temperature on skin or the tingles after your leg goes numb, right? You can feel it in your nervous system, in your skin, tactily, in your bones. Power, shaking, movement. Yeah, that happens. So if you're feeling that, you know your magic is working. But if you aren't doing ritual, ceremonial, hermetic, Enochian, Freemasonry type ceremonies, or circle casting type ceremonies, maybe individually and private, formally or not, or if you aren't invoking the word, Sometimes the signs are more subtle. Sometimes magic, when it's working, you can only know that it's working by an inkling. Sometimes it's just an inkling. It's this minute sense. So if you feel like you're having trouble connecting to your magic, sit with it. Listen. Be silent. And let what happens happen next, and then pay attention. If you notice a word in a sentence spoken to you that reminds you of a memory, and that memory reminds you of an object, and then you immediately see that object somewhere, listen. Listen to that thought. Smile. That's your magic saying hello. Maybe go pick up the object and try to figure out what, if anything, it's hinting at. You don't have to tell anyone about what you're doing. They can't tell, right? Maybe you're in a store and they just think you're considering buying this strange stuffed animal. But often you'll get some sort of resonance back from it. Perhaps just a small whisper, a veiled whisper-thin breeze of calm emotion, or just a sudden urge to smile without you necessarily knowing why. You just feel good just for a second. So let that happen. That's your magic working, right? You got to get good at that before you can get good at figuring out what it's trying to show you or why. Sometimes it's going to be very vivid, outright ideas, right? Sometimes it isn't subtle. Sometimes it's a very direct message, a sentence that just jumps right in your head, seemingly from nowhere, loudly. Those spontaneous, all too often ignored calls from our higher selves, reaching down so valiantly to us to aid and inspire. That's your magic working. So let that happen and pay attention to that. I mean, I just had surgery and I'm thrilled about it. I'm thrilled that I needed surgical attention. Now, non-occultists often find that sort of a sentiment ridiculous or insane. Or they jump to the conclusion that someone's happy because now they've, had some, death awareness that's renewed their faith in life. I didn't need my faith renewed, right? Occultists are very aware of Malkuth and the shortness of life's duration here. But I am thrilled that it happened regardless, no matter what a non-occultist might assume for why I feel that way or how strange it might be to feel that way. Because that's how well my magic works. I was so in the flow with my path, with my course, that I was where I needed to be to get the help I needed for an emergency surgery. Now that's pretty dynamically rare, right? Just as far as going about your daily life, that you're going to be near an emergency room, hospital, and get there in time to need an emergency surgery. I got it immediately, woke up almost before I knew it had even happened, and it was already done. An hour later, I stood up and left the hospital. I stood up and then they make you sit down for insurance purposes in a wheelchair, and then they roll you to a car. But I did. I stood up out of the surgical bed and I did leave the hospital from the surgery bed, right? I didn't stay in the hospital even an hour after surgery. 2 days later, I'm back to walking, talking, working, laughing. And with the full knowledge that this happened to me by intention, by my intention, and by higher intention, on purpose, for good reason. This was so that it didn't go unnoticed and didn't happen at a time when I couldn't get the help I needed. And something much, much more dangerous would have occurred later had this not happened to me now. And I know that. That's listening to your energy, your body, your blessings. Yes, it is. Needing surgery was a gift. All true enough. But also, as an occultist, not just a spiritualist, I can actually hear the ring of your welcome from another place as I'm saying this to you. I can hear that tone. A higher will and intention functioning on behalf of my vessel within the terrestrial, beaming at me with the resonance of a job well done. Very proud of itself. So that's a pretty clear sign that my magic's working. Literally hearing, yes, it is, good job. Inside your skull from a beatific, powerful source that you labor daily to hold on to, internalize, and become more like, that's a pretty good sign your magic's work. In big ways or small, obvious or subtle, pay attention, calm, allow silence and focus. Trust your instincts and your intuition. Listen to the quiet thought. Respond to it and give it the respect it deserves. If you look up at a clock and see that it's 11:11 a.m., 1111, and that's your thing, that's what brings a smile to your lips and a sense of being on your path in the right moment, in the right way, then trust that empowering sensation. Trust that idea as it pops into your mind. Trust that emotion, that message. Trust yourself. Don't feel silly and shame or discount it or yourself. Any thought that makes you feel good shouldn't be tossed in a bin because of common mental conditioning that the majority of people have, right? Oh, that's ridiculous. Or because it's unconventional. Very often in this sphere, in Malkuth, simply being okay with yourself, not judging yourself or others, right? Not seeing yourself as this ego identity, that is considered unconventional or wrong or insane very often here. And what purpose can that possibly serve? Certainly not yours. Only you can do you. So trust you, and trust that you know when your magic is working and what steps it will take to let it flow freely back into you when you feel like it's not. Trust yourself and allow it to be. Until next time.